Good morning students, and today in this video we are going to discuss about the sexual reproduction in plants. बच्चों, in plants the main reproductive organ is the flower. Flower is the main reproductive organ, and first we shall discuss about the structure of the flower. In actual, a flower is made up of four holes. There are four holes in the flower. Outermost hole is like this. Okay. This hole is called calyx. This is called calyx. And this calyx is made up of 4 or 5 structures, units, and these units are called sepals. And these are green in color. In some plants it is like the cap, in some plants they are separated, and this complete whole is called calyx, and it is made up of 4 or 5 green sepals. Okay, and the function of the calyx is to protect the bud, because during the budding this calyx surround the bud. Second hole is corolla. Corolla, you see the colored part of the flower, this is corolla. Okay, and this complete hole, this is the colored part of the flower, and its complete hole is called corolla, and each unit of corolla is called petals. These are the petals. Petals are colored. And petals, the main function of the petals is to attract the insects for pollination. And these two parts are essential parts because they are present in all the flower. But they are non-reproductive parts because they do not take part in the process of reproduction. Okay. Now, the third part is androecium. Androecium is the male reproductive part of the flower, and it is made up of stamens. And fourth part is the gynoecium. Gynoecium, it is a female reproductive part, and it is made up of 1 or more carpels or pistils. Now, gynoecium, if we open the flower, in the middle we can see this type of structure. This is gynoecium, and this gynoecium is made up of carpels. This is complete carpels, and this gynoecium is surrounded by a number of stamens, that is androecium. So let's discuss about this androecium and gynoecium in detail. Androecium, I told you just that androecium is the male reproductive part, and it is like this. This is androecium. Androecium is made up of a number of stamens. It is a single stamen, and stamen is made up of 2 parts. Upper part is called anther, and this stalk of the stamen is called filament. It is called filament. This anther has the pollen sac. There are the chambers here, and these chambers are called pollen sac. And these pollen sac are filled with very small grains-like structures, and these structures are called pollen grains. Okay, so this is the stamen. Stamen, it is the unit of the androecium, that is the male reproductive part of the flower, and it is made up of 2 parts. Upper part is called anther. Anther has a number of chambers which are called pollen sac, and pollen sac are filled with pollen grains. Okay, and its stalk is called filament. Now, the female reproductive part, that is called the gynoecium. Now, this is the female reproductive part, that is called carpel. Each carpel is made up of 3 parts. uppermost part is called stigma, the snack-like part is called style, and this structure is called ovary. Okay? Stigma, style, and ovary. And inside the ovary there is one bone structure that is called ovule, and ovule has a number of cells for 8 cells, 4 cells on upper side and 4 cells on lower side, and one of the lower cell is called female gamete or egg cell. Okay, so this is the structure of the carpel and stamen. Okay, now how does the process of reproduction start? In actual, the process of the reproduction is started with the production of pollen grains. Pollen grains are produced there in the anther and when it matures, this anther gets ruptured and these pollen grains come out. And the nucleus of the pollen grain is called male gamete. The nucleus of the pollen grain is called male gamete. And now these pollen grains are transferred from one flower to another flower, and they reach the stigma of the same or another flower, and this process is called pollination. What is pollination? The transfer of pollen grains from one flower to the stigma of another flower is called pollination. Okay, and this pollination is of two types: self-pollination and cross-pollination. What is self-pollination? Self-pollination. Self-pollination. In self-pollination, the pollen grains are transferred from the anther of the one flower to the stigma of the same or another flower of the same plant. This is self-pollination, and there is no need of any agent. Transfer of the pollen grains from the anther of one flower to the stigma of the same or another flower of the same plant. This is self-pollination. And cross-pollination. Cross-pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from one flower to another flower of the another plant of the same species. Here the pollen grains has to move from one flower to another flower. That's why it is called cross-pollination. And for this pollination they need agents. So this cross-pollination takes place with the help of three agents. First, by air. Some pollen grains are transferred by air. The pollen grains which are very light, which are the wings-like structures like orchids, they pollinate through the air. Okay. Second, by water. The pollen grains of the aquatic plants like hydrilla, vallisneria, etc., their pollen grains pollinate through water. Through water they move from one flower to another flower. And third is by insects. And the insects help to pollinate these pollen grains. And the flowers which are pollinated by the insects are beautiful. They have beautiful petals so that they can attract the insects for its pollination. So in this way, after pollination, the pollen grains reach the stigma of the same or another flower of the same species. In this way, this process of pollination is completed. Okay.